Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Ur-Quan Masters, where we are in hyperspace talking to the Menome. We just sold all the Rainbow World locations we gathered over the course of the past, 3 episodes that it needed? Yup, we finally found all 10 Rainbow Worlds, and we came back with some lifeform data, biodata, and we have all the credits in the world. So now, since we can't do any more ship upgrades, we don't really need fuel right now, we just restocked, so let's just say we wanted some information.
You know, in our many centuries of star trading, we Melnorme have come to learn much about what happens in our galaxy, both now and in the ancient past. We have also kept records on the diverse alien races in your region of space. We will share this crucial knowledge with you for a fee of 75 credits per informative fact. No refunds.
So with 5,000 credits, that's about like 80 different pieces of information. Well, where do we want to start? I think we start with the last one, historical data. Let's just get up to speed about where we are and what we have to expect from this universe.
Almost 25,000 of your years ago, there existed near this region of space an association of star-faring races called the Sentient Milieu.
We heard about those.
This group formed over several thousand years to mutually enrich their respective cultures, to provide a safe creche for emerging sentient species, and to afford themselves a degree of protection from external hostilities via military alliance. Of the 7 most active milieu members, the most famous race, indeed, you know them well, Captain, were the Ur-Quan.
No, not the Ur-Quan. Yeah.
The Ur-Quan evolved on a harsh planet, orbiting a star outside this region of space. They were solitary predators, like your praying mantis captain, or polar bear, who had a very limited set of social behaviors, most of which dealt with sex. Since they had to compete for survival against many physically superior species, the Ur-Quan evolved intelligence and tool use in much the same way as your own species. The Ur-Quan also learned to master their fierce territoriality, to build a cooperative planetary culture. When the Ur-Quan were discovered by the Taeo, they had just begun exploring their solar system in crude atomic vehicles. Although the Ur-Quan attacked what they thought to be an invader, the Taeo were patient. They explained the purpose of the sentient milieu and offered the Ur-Quan membership. The Ur-Quan recognized the benefits that such a system provided, and once more conquered the hunting beast within themselves, to become cooperative, productive members of the milieu. This lasted for several thousands of years.
Nice. So they weren't always the baddies. We know that much already. I mean, we guessed that much already because the Slylandro told us that there were the brown Ur-Quan, I believe it was, and they were never hostile. And now we have to deal with the green and the black ones. Oh, you know, all those Drans ago.
Just over 20,000 years ago, when your ancestors were learning to chart the course of the moon and stars on animal horns, the sentient milieu spanned 500 light years.
Vikings!
And included the membership of 100 worlds. Like all other star travelers, they had discovered ruins and relics of a far more ancient culture, which your species calls the precursors.
Ding, ding, ding.
Explorers from many species spent their lives trying to piece together this ancient mystery. But of all races, the Ur-Quan were the most bold adventurers. Their scouts, flying single ships, penetrated far into uncharted space and landed familiar worlds.
Sure.
On one such mission, a young Ur-Quan made planetfall on a small, life-bearing alien world to identify some anomalous energy readings, occasionally a sign of precursor installations. Instead, the Ur-Quan found a small, hideous creature, a Dinyari. Before the scout was able to defend itself, the Dinyari creature took control of the Ur-Quan's mind
Are you listening, people?
and
That's more.
commanded the scout to place the Dinyari aboard the Ur-Quan's ship, along with hundreds of its evil brood. Then the Ur-Quan returned to the heart of the milieu, landing on its capital planet. Within hours, every resident of the planet was a Dinyari slave.
That sucks.
Within a month, Dinyari compelled starships and spread the evil, psychic creatures across the entire milieu.
They didn't really waste any time, right? Well, the Dinyari Blitz. If you remember at the end of last episode? No, the one before that. Where I had to fight the Green Ur-Quan. They told us the same. That's pretty much their story. That's why they are hostile towards everybody else, because they don't want to be enslaved again.
When the Dinyari took control over the milieu, one race fought back. The Taelo.
Oh.
These slow, quiet creatures were silicon-based life forms, but bore little resemblance to the modern Shenjesu. Taelo were natural immunes to the Dinyari's psychic compulsion. They were unaffected by the creature's power.
Good for them.
And the Dinyari would not permit anyone to exist outside their control.
That's not so good for them.
So they ordered the remaining races of the milieu to attack and destroy the Taelo home planet.
Cheater! Boo!
This planet was one of the few milieu worlds located in this region of space. I believe you call their star Delta Vulpeculae. Their home was a moon revolving about the second planet. I'm sad to say that the Taelo were indeed eliminated. However, at the time of their devastation, they had completed a device which they thought would give other races psychic immunity like their own. What happened to this device, this shield? It's hard to say. Maybe it was destroyed
It wasn't.
in the attack on their homeworld. Maybe not.
So this is where you get the information that you should head to Delta Vulpeculae 2A and grab that rock thing that we grabbed a while ago. So if you haven't by accident stumbled upon it, or, followed me, then now you would know. And we already have the Taelo shield, so we now definitely know what it does. It will shield us from the Dinyari if we ever come across them.
In the Dinyari's new empire, the Ur-Quan were the favored slaves. This is probably because the Ur-Quan were the most psychically sensitive, the most easily compelled. As the centuries of Dinyari dominance passed, what was once the sentient milieu deteriorated and degenerated into a great galactic gulag. Alien races which did not serve with the efficiency and speed demanded by the Dinyari were ruthlessly burned from the faces of their worlds.
That's so nice.
The agents of this genocide were inevitably the Dinyari's favored pet,
Of course.
the Ur-Quan. After almost 2,500 years of unrelenting Dinyari control, there were only 4 living member races of the once great sentient milieu. By this point, the Dinyari had used genetic manipulation to split the Ur-Quan into 2 subspecies.
Here you go.
The green Ur-Quan. Scientists, technicians, and administrators who were responsible for maintaining the limited infrastructure of the Dinyari civilization, and the black Ur-Quan, who filled the ranks of basic laborer and combat soldier. Then, a chance discovery by an Ur-Quan named Za led to the violent overthrow of the Dinyari slave empire.
Yeah, we know as much, not in as much detail though.
The Ur-Quan named Za was a green, a researcher specializing in repairing the mental damage inflicted by long-term exposure to the Dinyari's psychic compulsion. By this point in history, the Dinyari had grown lax in their dominance, and on occasion accidentally permitted their slaves moments of self-direction.
How could they?
Za was able to use those few scattered minutes to compose a theory. From its observations, Za realized that when a slave died, the Dinyari disconnected from the slave's mind, lest it too be dragged down to death. Further, the Ur-Quan scientist uncovered the fact that when a slave underwent great pain, the Dinyari temporarily disconnected, but that the degree of pain had to be extreme, nearly lethal. Za chose its moment carefully. It waited until it was near an open transmission unit. Then, in a short moment of mental freedom, the Ur-Quan injected itself with a dose of acidic poison, sending incredible waves of pain through its long body. In the few moments before its death, Za was able to wrest control of the transmitter to send word of its discovery across the planet and into space as well. Before the Dinyari knew what was happening, Ur-Quan everywhere were hacking at their own bodies with chunks of glass, burning themselves horribly, doing anything that would give them the few seconds of freedom necessary to find the nearest Dinyari and crush the bleeding creature.
Way to go, Ur-Quan!
As they gained longer and longer periods of control, the Ur-Quan developed new tools and weapons to destroy their evil masters. The most gruesome of these devices was the excruciator.
Doesn't sound good.
A mechanism which was inserted directly into the brain and generated a constant stream of agony. The Dinyari could not bring themselves to make the necessary mental connection with these tortured Ur-Quan. They were slaughtered by the thousands. The Ur-Quan slave revolt was won.
And this is where you really feel pity for the Ur-Quan, right? I mean, 2,500 years of mental enslavement, and then they basically had to nearly die and live in excruciating pain for God knows how long to get rid of their slave masters. That gives you an idea of why they do not want to be enslaved again, and I guess you can sympathize a lot. It kind of takes away the bad guy image a little bit. Alright, go on.
When the last Ur-Quan was free of psychic compulsion when the last free Dinyare was dead. The combined might of the Ur-Quan starfleets met in orbit above the Dinyare homeworld. They had come together to make two important decisions.
Aha!
First, how to punish the few frightened Dinyare left below on the planet's surface. Second, how to ensure that never again would the Ur-Quan be made slaves. The first decision was made swiftly. The Dinyare would not be allowed to die. That was too kind of fate.
Oh yeah.
Instead, the creatures would be genetically modified into sub-sentience. They would become dumb animals. These low creatures would be further debased by serving the Ur-Quan for all eternity.
Eye for an eye.
The most demeaning way the Ur-Quan could imagine. Acting as translators, making physical contact with other species, whom the Ur-Quan now considered grossly inferior to themselves and revolting.
Great.
The second decision, how to ensure their freedom permanently, caused great turmoil.
Aha, what could that be? We've already heard about it, right? The path of now and forever, and the eternal doctrinal conflict?
Following the successful Ur-Quan slave revolt, the Ur-Quan met to decide how to ensure their freedom.
You said that already.
The Green Ur-Quan, who called themselves the Kazertzar in honor of the Ur-Quan who triggered the revolt, wished to establish the path of now and forever, which required that all other sentient species must become slaves of the Ur-Quan or be forever imprisoned beneath an impenetrable force shield. Leading the opposition to this plan was Korra, a charismatic fleet officer. Korra proposed a simpler alternative, the Eternal Doctrine. Simply put, this scheme called for the systematic eradication of all sentient life in the universe, aside from the Ur-Quan.
Of course.
Captain, if these positions seem to you extreme or unwarranted, you must remember that the Ur-Quan had been unwilling slaves for millennia.
Yeah, like I
And
said.
that each of them had to remain in agony for years in order to defeat the Dinyare. The followers of Kazertzar and Korra were all on the brink of madness,
Explains a lot.
but neither side would submit. And so they fought a bloody civil war.
Okay. Well, continue.
This is the last historical item we have for sale. The civil war between the Green Ur-Quan, the followers of Kazertzar, and their opponents, the death-dealing Korra, lasted for decades. It is likely that they would have annihilated each other were it not for a chance discovery by Kazertzar, a precursor battleship.
That is bad.
The vessel was huge, many times the size of the Ur-Quan's vessels. The precursor ship sliced through the Korra forces in days. The Korra were defeated. However, in their victory, the Kazertzar were humble. They realized that there was a chance, that they were wrong, and the Korra were right. Instead of destroying the Korra, the Kazertzar let them go, directing them to make their way through the stars, traveling against the spin of the galaxy. The Kazertzar would travel in the opposite direction, and when the two Ur-Quan forces met, they would fight again in ritual combat, with the precursor battleship given to the winner. Captain, this is happening here and now.
We guessed as much.
The Xerxar, the Ur-Quan who enslaved Earth, are fighting their ritual battle against the Korra in a large area centered near the Craterus constellation.
Yep, we know that. We have the
If the
radar.
Korra win this battle, Captain, the Xerxar will stand aside and let them kill us all.
Can't have that happen.
We believe it is your destiny to prevent this from happening.
No pressure. Absolutely no pressure. So that gives us one more idea what happened with the Thradash. If you remember, we met the Thradash when we picked up our first couple of Rainbow Worlds, and they moved into Ur-Quan territory, got their butts kicked and moved back out. This is a ritual conflict. None of the Ur-Quan want anybody else to interfere with that. So instead of being a helping hand, the Thradash probably got kicked in the butt by both Ur-Quan races. Well, we got rid of the Thradash that way, so that's good, right? So let's see what we can get on useful data on alien races.
The Zokpotpik are a friendly co-op of 3 alien species, all native to the same world.
Thank you, already
They
allied.
are presently suffering severe collateral damage
Yeah.
from the ritual combat between the Ur-Quan and the Korra.
No surprise there.
While this is unfortunate for the Zokpotpik, they have been forced to abandon many of their worlds. This close proximity to the inter-Ur-Quan war will give them insights into the conflict, which will be of great use to you. In addition, the Zokpotpik met the Chenjesu early on in the war and are eager to make allies who can protect them from their enemies. In case you are interested, the Zokpotpik homeworld is at coordinates 400.0 by 543.7, Planet 1.
Alpha Tukane, we've been there, we've made allies with them, and he's basically telling us we can go there, we can talk to the Zokpotpik, and they should be able to tell us how the war is going. That's quite nice, that's a good piece of information there.
The Ur-Rat are presently attacking the Pekunk in the Lekali and Kruger constellations. These beings have slavish devotion to their dark gods Dogar and Kazan, which in the past few years has been used against them by the Unga. If you need to manipulate the Ur-Rat, we suggest you discover the Unga's technique and duplicate it.
So we met the Ilrath in the very, very first episode, those spidery looking things? Yeah, we had to defeat one of their ships in the very first episode, I think, or at least in the second. So they are fighting the Pekunk, the Lakayan Kruger constellation. That's the bottom left corner of the map. That's where we're going next. We want to meet the Pekunk and see if they can be of any use to us. And it seems like in their devotion to their gods Dogar and Kazan, they have been manipulated by, what was it, the Unga? So it's about time we pay the Unga a visit and find out how that works, and maybe we can manipulate the Ilrath, I don't know, fighting the Ur-Quan worlds, we will see. Also, if you're wondering, yeah, we are running a little bit overtime, and we will continue to run overtime because we will see this through. So if you're not interested in any of the details that make up this game and you just want to see me go out there and travel around and fight and explore planets and whatnot, go now. Otherwise...
The Pekunk are a mystical offshoot of the Yehat species, who left their bird brothers long ago to found a peaceful enclave in the Kruger and Geitless stars. At the present time, the Pekunk are defending themselves against the Ur-Rat, who have been commanded to attack the Happy Birds by Dogar and Kazan. The Pekunk may be unwilling to make a formal alliance with you, but we have confidence that if you explain yourself honestly, They will help your efforts against the Ur-Quan.
Done deal, we're going there next.
The creatures presently fighting the Ur-Quan are called the Korra.
Yeah, we know that.
They are an Ur-Quan subspecies who split off from the main species many thousands of years ago. Their present fight is a ritual reenacting of a major difference of opinion between two rival Ur-Quan leaders after the Ur-Quan overwhelmed their slave masters, the Dinyare. The Korra are immune to reason, having long ago lost the ability to see their situation objectively.
I can understand
They
that.
live in a self-maintained paradox. To ensure their safety and security, the Korra fight an endless battle against all other sentient species.
Yep, we've heard about that in the historical data, so that's nothing really new, but that's one more way to get to this information without going through all of the historical data. Not bad. Go on.
I must warn you about some very bad people.
Aha.
Is this worth so many credits?
Obviously.
You ask yourself. I
Not that
assure you it is. The creatures are called the Druge.
Oh, I haven't heard of those
They
yet.
are a callous and evil race. They care for nothing but profit and personal gain through unfair mercantile exchanges.
Hey, they sound like you.
Why are you looking at me like that, Captain? It is not appropriate. As I was saying, these wicked creatures
I wonder, why
try
would
to
that
sell
be?
you commodities at unreasonably low prices. Boy, they almost give away fuel. Do not fall for their tricks. There are hidden costs, secret tariffs, so that you may avoid them. I will tell you that their main trade world is Zeta Persei 1. Why are you smiling, Captain?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe because you just told me where I can find your #1 contender in market share. Probably. The Persei cluster is on the very, very right side of the galactic map. We went past that on our Rainbow World hunt, but we haven't been in there yet, so I guess at some stage we're gonna go there.
The Berdixies race evolved on the planet Arcturus 1.
Been there.
They lived there in a relatively benevolent manner until the Korra came and destroyed them during the course of 2 or 3 unfortunate days.
Very unfortunate
The
days.
Druge were largely responsible for the Korra finding the Berdixies. You see, the Berdixies were in long-distance, hyperwave contact with a race known simply as the Keg. For decades, the Keg and the Berdixies traded much valuable information until the Keg came under attack by an invading race who you may know as the Korra.
Bad luck.
The Gag warned the Berdixies that the Korra located races by their hyperwave transmissions and that they had already discovered the radiations from the Druge. When the Berdixies were kind enough to warn the Druge that a hostile alien race was homing in on their hyperwave radiations, the Druge shut down all their transmitters and erected a powerful hyperwave beacon on the surface of the Berdixies moon.
Now that's just not right.
Korra changed course, attacked the poor Berdixies, and sadly destroyed them all.
Yeah, he doesn't sound like he cares. Well, we've been there, we've been to Arcturus, and we brought the Berdixies hyperwave caster with us. So that was success for us.
The Thredash are an arrogant, stubborn, and thick-skinned species
Yeah, the Klingons.
who reside in the Draconis and Accolade star systems. They have little or no respect for anything but force, which they admire greatly. To make the Thredash your friends, you should consider killing most, but not all of them.
Okay.
In addition, they guard some kind of sacred relic at the star system Zeta Draconis, though we do not know the true nature of this artifact. The Thradash homeworld is at Delta Draconis.
I guess that is something we should note. We've been there. We have found the Rainbow World in the Draconis cluster, but we haven't been to that particular one. Yes, we could have done that, obviously, but, you know, I wanted to get this information first, so you actually see where all the stuff comes from. We have, I won't say cheated some of the information so far. You would have stumbled across most of the stuff eventually by yourself, just by going out there gathering resources. The way we've done it here is we've saved on about 30 episodes just for going for good planets and just, you know, not looking at all the others. If you were going on this by yourself, you would probably find all the things we found so far. And then again, you know, the Melnome will tell you about it.
After the war, the Chenjesku and the Mernherm chose to be slave-shielded on the Chenjesu's homeworld at Procyon. We suspect that they are melding their two species to form some kind of new hybrid race, a race which may well be powerful enough to destroy the Ur-Quan single-handedly.
That would be nice.
However, by our calculations, this process will take many decades, if not centuries.
That is bad.
Should you wish to talk to them, we recommend you invest in a hyperwave broadcasting system, which is powerful enough to penetrate the shield around their world.
Hint, hint. I guess we have one of those on board, so yeah, we could do that.
The Mycon are using this time, while the Ur-Quan have their attention elsewhere,
Haven't met
to
those yet.
expand their sphere of influence as fast as possible. The Mycon colonize planets by launching tough spore pods from orbit and injecting them under the planet's surface.
Pay attention.
Months later, after the spores have grown hundreds of thick, fibrous tendrils under the planet's crust, the tendrils suddenly thrust up out of the planet and create huge calderas. Not incidentally, filling the planet's atmosphere with the Mycon's preferred gases, clouds of superheated steam and sulfuric acid.
And molten bacon. Just because everything's better with bacon.
Following the end of the war, the Androsynth began experimenting with interdimensional fatigue, a process which is related to your faster-than-light drive, but involves dimensions far more alien than hyperspace. They had just made a major breakthrough when they were suddenly wiped out by a race called the Ors, who appeared seemingly out of nowhere. Actually, we don't know what the Ors did to the Androsynth. They're just all gone.
And that is why you don't talk to the Ors about the Androsynth.
The Arilularile are a mysterious race of IDF beings. IDF meaning interdimensional fatigue. They do not reside in this galaxy, or in fact, anywhere in this universe. While it is true that the Arilu are rarely seen far from the Columbae star group, they do make regular secret visits to your world, and have done so for centuries. Ever since Earth was slave-shielded, they have focused their attention on the humans aboard the starbase, many of whom are now members of your crew.
And died in our service.
Though the Arilularile always smile and are never overtly hostile, we believe that they have a secret agenda which somehow involves your planet, Earth. These secret plans may or may not cause grief and woe to you Earthlings.
I'd take my chances.
Just under 20 years ago, the brave and suicidal Shofixti annihilated their species by exploding a precursor device, some kind of bomb,
That sounds
in the
good.
interior of their sun. The resulting storm of solar flares cooked the life off the Shofixti homeworld and incinerated over 100 Ur-Quan dreadnoughts which had just entered the system to conquer the Shofixti. In actuality, there are still at least a dozen Shofixti left alive in the galaxy.
That's not that many.
1 or 2 are at Delta Gorno, guarding the dead hulk of their once beautiful world. Others can be found in Vox space.
So if you want to meet a Shofixti, travel through Vox space or go to their old homeworld, which is actually pretty close by, so that is something we will do.
The Slylandro are a mostly non-solid, sentient race who live in a gas giant at Theta Corvi.
But what are the glowing bits
We
inside them?
recently sold them a self-replicating exploration probe,
Yeah, you did.
which has somehow turned hostile and attacks everything it detects.
And you don't feel it slightly
If such
responsible.
encounters have angered you, Captain, please do not address your concerns to us. We possess a formal waiver of damages authorized by Slylandro Speaker
Call customer
and are
service instead.
in no way responsible for the situation.
No, not at all.
The cowardly Spaffy live at the single planet orbiting Epsilon Gruis. They do not actually live on their world, rather they reside on its airless moon. The reason? A xenomorphic species which craves the sweet-flavored flesh of the Spaffy has been transported to the surface of their planet
Who could have done
and
that?
makes every attempt to devour the poor Spaffy.
I could make the same attempt by
I'm
now.
certain that the Spaffy would be forever in your debt if you were to eliminate these creatures from their planet.
Yeah, that worked out well.
You fear the alien creatures will find you a treat also? Fear not. Our data reveals the beasts are not interested in your species. Should you wish to consult with the Spaffy Ruling Council, you will need to know the secret Spaffy cipher, a password, which is Huffy, Muffy, Guffy.
So, if you hadn't made friends with Swiffle at the very, very, very beginning of the game, this would have been the way to still get the information on how to deal with the Sparthy. Remember, you will not be able to talk to them at all if you don't have the secret cipher, and this is the other way to get it. This is also why it is pretty much at the end of the useful data on alien races, because you shouldn't really need to get here.
Like you Earthlings, when the war with the Ur-Quan was lost, the Cyrene chose to be slave-shielded. Their new world is at Beetlejuice.
Aha!
The Cyrene starbase is crewed by the starship commanders and crew who were decommissioned at the end of the war. Though the Cyrene hate the Ur-Quan with a vengeance, they are unlikely to offer you assistance unless you reveal to them the truth behind the tragedy of their original homeworld, Syra,
Well,
which
what is
was
it?
destroyed by the birth of a Mycon Deep child a century ago.
Those suckers. So, there are some more allies in the making. That sounds good, right? It's definitely good.
When the Ur-Quan entered Gamma Serpentis, the home star of the Yehat, their queen made a sudden change of allegiance and allied with the Ur-Quan hierarchy. They became Ur-Quan combat thralls.
You three-faced triple
This
crosser.
act was viewed by most Yehat starship officers as ultimately dishonorable, the desperate act of a corrupt regent to maintain her throne. The Yehat shame was greatly magnified by the Shofixti's show of courage. but they destroyed their own star system to slow down the Ur-Quan Armada. Captain, you have heard all that we have to say about aliens indigenous to this region. Should we learn more in the near future, we shall be certain to sell it to you.
Cool. So, then, tell me everything that's going on in the world.
While you probably believe that the Shofixti are extinct, having caused their sun to flare with a device identical to the Utwig super bomb, the truth is not so simple. There yet exists a chance to resuscitate this meta-marsupial species, though it will not be easy. The problem at hand seems simple. Bring together two Shofixti of different sexes.
That's how it usually works.
Carnal gymnastics proceed.
Carnal gymnastics. I will write
Short
that down.
gestation and maturation time of the Shofixti. You will have thousands of the creatures in 10 years and millions in 20.
That sounds good.
Finding a male of the species is easier than fluff. Simply visit the Shofixti's blasted star system at Delta Gorno. Captain Tanaka, or its sibling, Katana, shall greet you on your arrival. A warning. These warriors are old and fly in barely functional ships.
Well, as long as their
mistakenly
equipment
identify
is still
you
working.
as the enemy. Do not return fire.
Okay.
Retreat and try to talk with them on their own level. The females of the species will be more difficult to obtain. The only supply of such remaining in the galaxy is at Alpha Cherenkov 1, included as part of General Zex's bizarre and beloved menagerie. Fortunately for you, Captain, Zex is considered, well, perverse
I gather as
by
much.
his fellow bucks. This is because Zex actually enjoys the presence of human beings.
Oh, how could he?
To acquire the Shofixti females, you will have to appease Zex. Or kill him.
Can I do both?
Ur-Quan are presently at war with a race called the Korra.
Yep, we know that.
They are fighting within a large spherical region of space, centered around the Crater's star group. Although it is probably too early to tell, it would appear that the Korra are winning.
That would be bad. They want to kill everybody.
No doubt you are familiar with an alien race called the Umga, who live in the Orionus constellation. While they are renowned for their potent and often cruel sense of humor, they have outdone themselves in recent years. Specifically, they have used an unusual hyperwave caster
Got it.
to impersonate the Ur-Rat gods Dogar and Kazan.
Oh, here's the secret.
When the Ur-Rat began tuning in to the voices of their gods on their hyperwave receivers, the priest caste was understandably skeptical and counseled their many followers to ignore the blasphemous signals. However, in a surprise move, the majority of the Ur-Rat then rose up and slaughtered the entire priest caste. The reasons for this ghastly move included overtaxation, lack of quality depth in ceremony, and the general feeling that the priests had made Dogar and Kazan's pronouncements overly complex.
When the common people believe that it's easier to listen to the gods than listening to the church. Yeah, that's what happens.
As you know, there are weaknesses in the division between dimensions.
Yup.
For example, your vessel uses such weaknesses.
You said
to
the
enter
exact same line
hyperspace.
like 10 minutes ago.
However, there are other weak spots in the galaxy which lead to yet different dimensions.
No, that's exactly one.
One such portal exists nearby. between the Chandrasekhar and Kolum Bay constellations. The portal opens only a short time each month, starting on the 17th. Since we have never entered the portal, we can give no more information on this subject.
So if you haven't visited the Zogfort Pig, nobody would have told you about where to find the Arilu portal. This is how you would have found out.
As you are probably aware, Ur-Quan starships, you call them dreadnoughts, I believe.
You believe correct, my friend.
Possess effective self-annihilation circuits, which prevent other races from
I know where this is heading.
engineering Ur-Quan technological secrets. However,
Remember the Arilu.
we have become aware of a shipwrecked dreadnought, which has remained largely intact. You will find the remains of the ship on the surface of a blue world orbiting Alpha Pavonis. We suspect you will find at least one item of interest there, possibly two.
Well, we only found one, which is the warp pod, right? So they told you about the Arilu, and right after that they told you this is where you find the dreadnought that you will need to actually go to the Arilu and get your quasi-portal spawner. If you go there first and get that, obviously you don't have to wait 1 month to the next 17th for the natural portal to respawn so you can get back to the Arilu and finish the modifications. You can just bring that with you and do it all in one go. It would save you some time. Anyway, we're past that point already, so it's not really that, useful. And they told us in the beginning the information we get might not be that useful to us. They may be. Some of that definitely is.
You may have noticed the presence of an increasingly large number of red probe
Decreasingly.
vessels, which move with great speed and attack relentlessly.
And stupidly.
We are sorry to say that this is our catalog item 2418B.
If only it was
Do
2419.
not blame us. We are not responsible for this violent folly. The product is not being used in a correct
Well, you should have
manner.
included the manual then.
If you wish to confront the actual wrongdoers, we suggest you search the planets in Beta Corby for the probe's owners.
Yeah, I can't remember who told us about them. I think it was the Zogfort Pig? Not the Arilu, right? Not the Sparthy. Must have been the Zogfort Pig. Anyway, we've done that already. We talked with the Slylandro, we've cleared all the misunderstandings, we have the self-destruct code, everything's good.
Not more than 50 years ago, the Druge were informed by the now extinct Bervixian race of a powerful alien nation called the Utwig.
Ah,
The Utwig, the Bervixies explained, were pleasant, sophisticated creatures, but they were also terminally depressed and often spoke about ending their lives by activating a super weapon, some kind of gigantic bomb, which they had found on one of their worlds. Zeta Hyades 6b, I think it was. The Druge recognized the description of the bomb as a precursor planetary tool, which indeed was an explosive device of unrivaled power, and they set out to make it their own.
and right out of you.
Though the revolting, criminal, insidious Druge rarely leave their sphere of influence, it encompasses Algol, Almagas, and the Persei stars. They made a special trip on this occasion to the Aquarii constellation, where they made contact with the Utwig. There is a device commonly known as the Ur-Quan. Is it now in your possession? Ah, I see. The Druge sold this device to the Utwig, explaining that it was a precursor personal magnifier, which would enrich the lives of their entire culture in too many ways to describe specifically. The Utwig, I am sorry to say, fell for the Druge's foul ruse and snapped up the Ur-Quan immediately. Fortunately for us all, the Udwig did not pay the Druge's requested price, the super bomb, and instead gave him a collection of historical oddments and genuine artifacts, which to this day the Druge are trying to unload on unwary buyers.
Alright. I don't really know why he would think that we have that Ultron in our possession. Okay, yeah. I mean, why not? We could probably do something with it. So the Udwig are in the Aquarii system, or cluster, or constellation, which is the top right part of the map. We've been there, we've flown through there. I haven't talked to them so far, so that's one thing we will definitely have to do.
The Udwig, who live in the Aquarii constellation,
I just said that.
have grown very depressed of late. They accidentally broke the supposed Ultron sold to them by the felonious Druge. As a consequence, they are morose and melancholic, and will probably be unwilling to help you fight the Ur-Quan. If you wish to gain them as allies, we recommend that you acquire the broken Ultron, as if it ever worked, and find some suitable replacement parts.
Make it blink again, okay.
Our information indicates that you could find these items in 3 different places. A rosy sphere at the Druge trade world.
Noted.
An aqua helix somewhere in Pradash space.
Yeah, you told us about that.
And a clear spindle, which is currently in the possession of the Picard.
Going there next.
Captain, that was
Woohoo!
the last current event we have for sale. We regret to say that you have exhausted our supply of genuinely valuable information. However, we do have many thousands of useless facts, and that we will gladly sell you at a substantial discount. Are you interested?
Sure.
We thought not.
So, the only thing we can do now is buy fuel, and that's it. All of it. We will never have to talk to the Melnome again, other than for fuel. Awesome. 50 freaking minutes for a history and current events lesson, and we know everything we need to know and everything we need to go. Well, not everything, but we're getting there. So, that's it for today, folks. And I see you next time when we go and visit the Have a good one.